can now come and hang out at the King's Lounge located right next to the buffet and directly opposite the poker arena to try out some of the best shisha in all of Europe. For those of you that aren't aware, shisha is a steamed instrument that's used to vaporize and then smoke flavored tobacco. After a long day of playing at the poker tables, for me personally, this is the perfect way to unwind and relax in comfort and luxury. So why don't you come and check out the King's Lounge? Cut. Take a seat. You can now come and hang out at the King's Lounge located right next to the buffet and directly opposite the poker arena to try out some of the best shisha in all of Europe. For those of you that aren't aware, shisha is a steamed instrument that's used to vaporize and then smoke flavored tobacco. After a long day of playing at the poker tables, for me personally, this is the perfect way to unwind and relax in comfort and luxury. So why don't you come and check out the King's Lounge? Cut.
And you are very welcome to King's Resort Another very special live broadcast. This week it's the German Poker Masters. It's the warm-up event, €230 buy-in. And we have a whopping, crazy, absolutely massive €300,000 to play for. And right now we have about 50 odd players left in this German Poker Masters warm-up event. It's day 2, and we're going to be streaming for the next 4 or 5 levels, bringing you all the action here live from Kings. So just bear with us. We're going to have whole cards pretty soon. Might be 1 or 2 hands before the graphics are updated. Okay, so we have 40,000 is the big blind, so this is a raise here on the button from a dark. And that raise on the button takes down the blinds and antes. Will take a few minutes, but we will have graphics showing all cards. Do bear with us. So, situation here in King's Resort. We're down to about 50 players, blinds 20,000, 40,000, all these players well in the money, of course. 300,000 is the prize pool with like 45,000. Well, it's actually 56,000 including the World Series of Poker main event seat. And we see that is Basilius, who's playing about 800k. These greens are 25k. Oranges are 5,000, and the white value, or the white chips, are valued at 100,000. So this is Vyacheslav under the gun, 1.4 million. He folds Nom with a sub 10 big blind stack. He folds, and it's folded right around to the cutoff. Vasilios, who's got a stack up to 740k. Vasilios makes it 95,000. Action at the small blind, 1.1 million stack, which is about average. And now the player in the big blind position is Martin Gregor. Martin has been featured several times on our live stream. Local player in the Czech Republic, defending his big blind here. Martin with average stack behind himself. These greens he's counting. These are 25k values, so that's 5 and another 5 white chips, a million, and then the reds behind are worth 5k. So Vasilios is the pre-flop raiser, made it 95,000. Continuation bet from Vasilios. Martin defended 8 Jack Queen board. So Martin in the tank here, and he puts in the 75,000, makes the call. We're going to go to a turn card. Now the ace. On the turn, and then the 5 on the river. Ace, a kind of card you would feel would favour Vasilios, but with that straight, in fact there's a couple of straights out there. Check back makes sense from Vasilios. Now the river. So Martin here repping a straight, 2 pair type hand with this 325,000 lead out on the river. I guess he gets called by X, Ace X. You can see Vasilios considering his options. In the tank here, Vasilios. Does fold. And Martin, who defended his big blind, takes down the pot. Vasilios under pressure leaves him with about 13 bigs. Big blind is 40,000. Something going on there with Magic Man. I'm not sure what the conversation was. So this is a 40-minute clock here on day 2 of the German Poker Masters. It's a 3-day event. So tomorrow we bring back 24 players, and the clock will increase to 45 minutes. Now, Andre Zeller, who is A reg here, King's Resort. It's just arrived there in seat 3. Always sports some fashionable apparel. 1.1 million, I believe, is bang on average. Andre is just getting a look around the table to see what the story is. Had some real deep runs, Andre Zeller, here in the resort. Andre straight away makes a 145. Pretty sizable. 3.5x Magic Man, who is the big stack on the table. Looks like a 3-bet from Magic Man. Action around to Hassan Chateau, the Frenchman on the button, who looks interested. There's been a lot of action. Hassan lets it go. Just the blinds here. Martin in this small blind, and in the big blind is Ukrainian, who decides not to continue. No action back with Andres. 255 to call. It's like 27% of his remaining stack. Under the gun open, Andres, from what we've seen in the past, plays pretty snug. Wouldn't tend to get out of line under the gun, but who knows? Andre Zeller with the open under the gun, and Magic Man with a 3-bet to 400,000.
We can speak, doesn't matter. I knew it was the first time. I know, but call is not option. Call in, and I will call you.
You know my face, eh?
Yeah, I will call you.
Andres engaging. You tend to feel that the hand will be folded. Andres cashed in the mini main event of the World Series Poker Circuit Festival recently. Also had a pretty deep run in the EPM Euro Poker Million event in February. Magic Man, 3-bet, gets the job done. About 40 players left in this German Poker Masters warm-up event. The GPM 300,000.
Later in the TV.
I have experience.
I don't hear anything.
Nam, let's rip. Sub 10 big blind stack under the gun. Magic Man asking for a chip count. Magic Man is the big stack on this table. So just under a 10 big blind all in rip here, 385 total, and action around to the big blind, who is Andres Eller, 22 big blinds behind.
I make a big fold.
Alright guys, we'll hold up the game for 5 minutes. There is some small technical issue with the production. We can just fix it. It will take
So it looks like we're going on a 5-minute break to try and resolve the issue. So do join us in 5 minutes. Hopefully everything will be resolved.
You can now come and hang out at the King's Lounge located right next to the buffet and directly opposite the poker arena to try out some of the best shisha in all of Europe. For those of you that aren't aware, shisha is a steamed instrument that's used to vaporize and then smoke flavored tobacco. After a long day of playing at the poker tables, for me personally, this is the perfect way to unwind and relax in comfort and luxury. So why don't you come and check out the King's Lounge? Cut. can now come and hang out at the King's Lounge located right next to the buffet and directly opposite the poker arena to try out some of the best shisha in all of Europe. For those of you that aren't aware, shisha is a steamed instrument that's used to vaporize and then smoke flavored tobacco. After a long day of playing at the poker tables, for me personally, this is the perfect way to unwind and relax in comfort and luxury. So why don't you come and check out the King's Lounge? Cut.
You're very welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the German Poker Masters. This is the warm-up festival. And the graphic you see is the chip count for the feature table. We're full table here, 900. Just about to kick off. Blinds 20,000, 40,000. Just waiting for Vyacheslav to take his seat. In seat number 2, he's in the cutoff. On the button is Andres. Under the gun here is the chip leader on the table, Magic Man. And looks like we have our graphics. So you're very welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We have a limp, it looks like, from Dirk Leesburg with the 910 suited. We will have table volume any moment. This is Andre Zeller, 22 bigs in the small blind. He folds, but Nambarillia in the big blind. King deuce off suit, 10 bigs behind. I don't think going to show much interest in raising. He's getting a free flop with the king deuce, and we're going to see that flop. But look at this, it's going to be action. Pair for Nambarillia and Dirk Leesburg with the combo draw. Flush draw, straight draw, everything going on. But Nambarillia, you feel, has to continue for at least one street. You can see the graphics, the equity displayed, the pair versus the draw is actually behind 41%. Nambarillia. Don't like this, obviously. The ace is a concern. He does have kicker problems, but I mean, how many hands that contain aces, the limp? Not many, but Nambarillia doesn't like the situation. Decides to fold. "38 players left in the mix here. We're at the 20,000, 40,000 blind level. That's Magic Man with the white gloves. Chip leader on the table, posting big blind under the gun is Dirk. He folds, and Vasilius with 14 bigs. Jack deuce folds. And now Hassan Chatur folding. Martin Very experienced Martin Gregor. Vyacheslav in the cutoff not interested, but Andres will be interested on the button position here as he looks down at ace jack. He has 21 bigs in his stack and he decides to move all in. Guess it's a profitable play. You may get ace 10 suited to call. Can't really think of a hand that calls that you're ahead of. Bar ace 10, and even that's a bit of a stretch. Magic Man flashes the ace and folds, and Andres shows his ace. No, he decides just to give the dealer his cards. These green chips are 25k, they're the big values. And the red chips are 5k. Whites, you'll see a couple of them there on the left. That's in Vyacheslav's chip stack. They're worth 100,000. And this blind level, still another 20 minutes or so in this 20,000, 40,000 level. All these players in the money, of course. All these players got guaranteed close to 1,000, but we're not far off a money jump. Now, pocket queens for Orkink. I really don't know how to pronounce this. Looks like a nickname. I'm going to call him RK. And he decides to make it 105, and he's run into the Cowboys. Hassan Chatour, the Frenchman, with kings. RK does have the larger stack. He has Hassan covered. You would figure this will go in pre. Remarkable. Hassan Chatour has elected just to smooth call with the kings. I mean, I like it in a way because he's totally, he's disguising his hand strength. But I mean, if he could see RK's hand, he'd be looking to get this. He'd be definitely free betting, and the money would all go in pre, but it might work out okay for him. Nama Barulia he decides to fold the ace 10. I thought he might consider continuing, perhaps even consider a 3-bet, but he decides to snap fold the ace 10. Magic Man with 10-7. Looks like he's interested, not sure why. Guess he's getting a big price, but he's not closing the action. I'm not really crazy about this play. Now, Dirk, well, this is interesting. Well, this is not how Hassan Chatour wanted things to go. He did not want to play a 4-way pot with kings, that's for sure. That's what happens. I mean, it's just a beautiful sight for Dirk Leisberg. He flopped the nut boat. It's an interesting decision to lead out. I mean, as the player in the big blind, he does have quite a few 5Xs in his range. So this type of lead out will kill a lot of action on many occasions, but it just turns out that, I mean, he's going to get a call by queens here, and kings going nowhere either. In fact, queens have decided to make it 300k. I've seen going nowhere with kings. He's under-repped his hand pre. This 3-bet, well, this would be crazy if this is folded. It really would be. I mean, how many 5s does RK have in his range? He could have ace 5, I guess, suited. That would be a hand Yeah, well, I mean, okay, it's going to be saved here, but unfortunately, okay, he's going to fold this. I mean, just way too much action here. Having said that, he might convince himself he's up against like 7s or 8s and a flush draw. Well, Queen's called. I'm really shocked at this. Okay, made the call. I just can't believe he overcalled here. Given the action. He 3-bet. Cold 4-bet. 5-bet all in. And OK calls with queens on a 5-6-5 board. Hassan Chator, I mean he played a slow pre. And that's always the danger. You're opening the door. These small pairs make a set. And I mean, it's just absolutely ideal scenario for Dirk, who gets a triple. Magic Man having a bit of a laugh. It was a really interesting hand. Kings slow played pre, but it just didn't work out. And it's unfortunate. The French player Hassan Chator, well, instead of doubling through RK, he's actually lost quite a sizable pot. Well, he hasn't, because he wins the side pot. So he's still, it looks like he broke even on this transaction. He lost, I think he lost about 650. To Dirk Leisberg. But then he won the side pot, which was equivalent to about 1.1 million. So he's flat on the deal, but the big loser, of course, RK, down to 10.5 big blinds. I'm really surprised he called with the queens given the action. There was a lead out from the player in the big blind, Dirk Leesberg, on the 5-5-6 board. RK raises, then the cold re-raise, all in from the French player. Then the original player, Dirk Leesberg, who led out, moved all in also. You would have thought, given the action and the interest shown, that the queens would have folded, but RK here with 10.5 big blinds under the gun, and this is pretty risky. 7 high, under the gun, full table to go around. Well, decides to let it go. Martin folds. Martin Grigor, certainly one to watch. And now Andres Eller, 945 in the hijack position. Magic Man, bit of a loose call there in the small blind with the 10-7 last hand. Guess he's getting a big price, an open from RK, and the flat from Hassan. Well, this is interesting. Okay, it's a 100k raise. Small blind. Dirk. Now, he played his flop boat very hard and fast, and instant 3-bet with the kings gets him up to 2.1 million. Magic Man down to 1.8. So Dirk Liesberg now the chip leader on this feature table. If you've tuned in, you're watching the German Poker Masters warm-up event. This was a 200 plus 30 buy-in with 300,000 euro guaranteed, and the winner of this event will receive 56,000 euro, including of course that World Series of Poker Europe main event ticket valued at 10,350, scheduled for October. So Vyacheslav folding the threes here. Andres Eller with the Queen 8. And, well, he's folding the Queen 8 here for sure. He folded Ace 8 in a later position, so it wouldn't make sense to open with the Queen 8. And the short stacked Nam Brilia holds the Jack 10. Magic Man will open. Ace 4. Well, wow. Okay, I'm surprised. Dirk Liesberg folding on the button with the 7-4, and Vasilios, well, he should be just shoving here with the King Jack. And RK with the Queen 6. Just 340 behind, and there's not long in this blind level, just about 10 minutes before the blinds go to 25,000, 50,000. So Vasilios Petratos getting a stack up to 14 bigs. Nam Brulia and RK, the two short stacks up top. Dirk Liesberg on a bit of a heater. Dirk Liesberg, huge triple with the sixes versus kings and queens, all in on the flop when he flopped the full boat on a 5-5-6 board. Hassan Chatour taking a break. Vyacheslav, Ace Deuce, 1.3 million stack. He folds, but Andres Eller surely will be involved with the pocket nines here. So all in rip here, pretty big. It's 24 bigs. With the pocket nines and Basilius folding the king nine. Small blind, RK. Short Hassin Chatur. Ace 3 in the big blind, but he's not going to be putting his stack in. Pretty much his entire stack with Ace 3. About to be mucked. Hassin Chatur folds. Andres Eller takes down the pot. You're very welcome to King's Resort. We're broadcasting live from the resort for the next few days. We're going to be bringing you all the action from this German Poker Masters warm-up event. 300,000 guaranteed. That is Andres Eller. Recent string of cashes here. Cashed in the World Series Poker Circuit in the mini-main event and the EPM Euro Poker Million earlier in February. Vyacheslav with the A7 suited under the gun. We haven't seen him play a hand, and not interested. Andres 10-9 off. Pretty snug, Andres Eller. I would think this would be folded. 9-10 offsuit, given his position. Now, action with Magic Man. 1.8 million stack. Decides to fold, and Vasilius Petratus in the cutoff with the Jack 5 suited, he folds. RK with the Queen 3 of diamonds on the button. Well, I'd be very tempted, I'd be inclined to shove here. Well, he decides he's going to wait for a better spot. I'm not sure will he find one. That's the problem. He can't afford that button to run through him again. He's going to be all in blind unless he generates something before that. I thought that was a good opportunity, and we could see by the cards in the blinds there that that would have worked. The suited queen would have got that all in through, but instead it's a walk for, well, for me, probably the most solid player on the table here, Martin Grigor. Vyacheslav we haven't seen much of, but he's going to be posting big blind here. Andres Eller, you can see under the gun with the 10-6. Just a quick shout out just before we see Magic Man raise with his big slick. We have the Benelux Classics kicking off this week. From Tuesday, Benelux Classics, 400,000 guaranteed, massive event. Always brings in a really huge attendance, the Benelux Classics. Now, Magic Man, Glassy's picked up a hand, big slick, suited, folded right around to Chateau on the button position with the Queen 7 suited, but can't really see him getting two. Excited, he does fold. Martin, wow. Like that. Ace 10 in the small blind. No action for the Magic Man. I'm just wondering, are these gloves, are they part of the act, the Magic Man Act? Or is this a health and safety like precaution? I don't know. Hello, Johan. And I certainly know you'll be in Kings, Johan, because everyone's talking about your arrival. It's all over the press, all over the internet. Unfortunately, I will not see you unless things turn. There's some big changes, but doesn't look like I'll be visiting next week. Vasilios Petratos, Ace 8, 570 stack, coming towards the end of this 2040 line level. Ace 8, all in rip. Vasilios, not afraid to put it in. Now, Hassan Chator has a decision. King Queen suited, this will be of interest to him. But it's 570k from a 1 million stack. Less than a million, it's 60% of a stack. What hands would do this that he's beating? King Jack? Perhaps, but it's not that likely. I mean, I think the best he can hope for here is a flip, and it's pretty much is a flip. Ace 8. Problem is, you call here, very often you are absolutely crushed. I think Hassan Chator will just go through the hands and figure that out and just let the King Queen go into the bin. Vasilios, Ace 8 all in. Andre Zeller is asking for a count, he's never calling. He's just trying to find out exactly what kind of chip stack that Vasilios is playing from. And the dealer announcing new blind level, 25,000, 50,000. And this will certainly increase the action. Volume of blinds now. And all stacks lower. You can see there blinds 25, 50, 6 bigs for OK. 7 for Nam Barilia. Vasilios 13 bigs. Chip leader Dirk Leesburg 42 big blinds. King deuce in the pin on the small blind. I'm surprised. This really is where it's at in tournament poker, these blind v blind confrontations. You've got to show a willingness to fight for them. Now, Hassin Chatur, King 9 offsuit. He folds, and now Martin Gregor in the hijack. No interest. Vyacheslav in the cutoff. Jack 2. I still haven't seen Vyacheslav play a hand yet. Andres Eller on the button. You should be opening here. 10-7 suited. 50k is the big blind. Andres Eller. Now, Nam Brillia. Let's rip. Jack 6. 410 all in. Magic Man with King 5. It's close, you know. But, I mean, you're never really in absolute awesome shape here, never. Unless like King 4, King 3 suited type thing. Even then, you're splitting quite a lot. Magic Man does fold the King 5. Nam Brillia. Now on the button, still short though. Big blind 50,000. Magic Man small. Dirk Leesburg, the chip leader, posting big blind under the gun. Vasilios. He's short as well, Vasilios. And then next to him is a very short stack. RK. Vasilios is about 13 bigs. And he looks down at 10-4. Now, all in for sure here. 6.5 bigs. Ace 10 suited. Auto. Shove. Hassin Chatur with a suited ace himself, but given the position, big blind, I snapped this off. Closing the action, but with so many players still to act, this should be a fold. Hassin Chatur looking at the clock, but does make a good decision there, folding the ace 7 of spades. And now Andres Eller in the cutoff will be folding the King 8 for sure. Nam Brillia folds a Magic Man with the 8 high. Folds. Now this is close. And he gets a call. Yeah, it's an auto call. Just 270 to call. It's like 4 bigs. Queen Jack suited. Of course he's calling. Now, not good. If you're the short stack, all in with ace 10 against Queen Jack, Queen high board. Ace and ace only. We did see the ace 7 of spades folded, so just 2 aces left in the deck. RK eliminated. Ace 10 versus Queen Jack, but the real damage was that Queens versus Kings versus the full vote from this seat here. This gentleman you see stacking chips, who's up to about 2.7 million now, I believe. So, empty seat, RK Busto. I mean, he was sitting on 1.7 million just a level ago. Just shows you anything can happen. Hassan Chatur folds and Vyacheslav now with King 8 suited. Now Andres Eller, Jack 10 suited. He folds a Nam Abrilia, doesn't need the golden invitation to let rip with his small pair. 10 bigs, cut off, of course he's going to move in, rightly so. It's all these hands he's flipping against to fold. Even the short stacked Vasilios Petratos has to fold in the big blind, the Queen 6. That's Martin Grigor taking a seat in seat 1 from the Czech Republic. Seat 2, Vyacheslav sitting on 1.2 million. The chip leader, Dirk Leesberg, playing about 2.5 million. Magic Man, 1.7 million. And this is Martin Gregor is going to open for sure. Ace King playing about average stack, 1.3 million. What's the size? That's the question. 50k big blind. And there's the min raise with the Ace King 100k. Trying to induce some action. Martin Grigor. Vyacheslav folds and Andre Zeller. King 9 off, he'll be folding. Vasilios Petratos Ace 5 suited. Small blind. This could be problematic for the Greek player. Having said that, Martin's been pretty snug. But funny enough, the only hand we see Martin play was against Vasilios. Martin defending in the big blind, and Martin won a sizable pot from Vasilios. But Vasilios doesn't get involved. Lays down the ace 5 of hearts, and Hassan Chatur will be folding the 6-4. Well, this is interesting. The min raise incentivizes Hassan Chatur to defend with the 6-4. I don't blame him. So much looking to hit a pair, but make it straight. Trips. 2 pair. Everything is possible. Top. I mean, this is absolutely ideal for Martin Grieger, who's not really going to get any action here. Could even check back against the big blind defend. But he's going to go really small. 60, 70k, I'd imagine. Hassan has none of this. Check folds. Vyacheslav with the suited connectors under the gun. I still haven't seen him play a hand. He folds, and Andre Zeller will be folding the Jack 9 offsuit. 30 players remain. Looks like we're going to have a short stream tonight, because my information is we're going to pause the clock at 24. So I can't really see another level or two. Maybe, I don't know, hour and a half. 2 hours maximum. Vasilios Petratos on the button. 11 big blinds, has a king. And he does move in with the king. I like this. He's going to get a bunch of hands that he's ahead of folding, you know. Hassan Chatur will fold. And Martin doesn't have a decision. 8-3 straight into the dustbin. Vasilios Petratos taking full advantage of the opportunity that presented itself. Folded around to him on the button. Looks down at King 3 and he lets rip. King, an important card. Blocks a lot of premium hands. I like that move from the Greek player. On the left is the chip leader. That is Dirk Liesberg. Short started out as a short stack, just 10 big blinds an hour ago, and now he's sitting on 2.5 million, which is close to 50 bigs. Now, Magic Man. Ace 8, 1.7 million stack. Surely he'll open here. 125 is the raise size. I seen Chateau on the button with the Jack 5. Folds, but Martin Gregor in the small blind. I think he's going to be 3-betting Magic Man here. Martin Gregor 1.4 million in a stack. Interesting situation. Could call folding, not an option, I don't think. Looking at the stacks, weighing up his options. The 3-bets, he's going to go with it. He's faced with a 4-bet. That's the decision he was making in his mind, I think. If he was faced with a 4-bet from Magic Man, what does he do? I guess he just goes with it. Magic Man now getting the news back, getting it shoved back in his face. Well, Martin Gregor sees an ace, knows he was ahead. Takes down the pot. Always a good situation like that, even when you have your opponent dominated. It's profit. He's winning like 5 bigs there. 5 big blind profit. No stress, no strain. Brings him up to 32 big blinds. You can see Dirk Leesburg. 2.4 million is the chip leader in the short stack Nambrilla. Sitting on 12 bigs. We did lose RK a little earlier. About 20 minutes left in this blind level before we go to the 30,000, 60,000. Now, Magic Man opened last hand, got 3-bet fold, but he's going to open again. 100,000. Chateau here in the cutoff folding. Martin Gregor on the button folds, and now we're looking at this small blind. Let go, but Andres Eller in the big blind. Ace Jack suited. Andres Eller could 3-bet here. Magic Man being active. These guys have played a few pots. Couple of options, of course. I mean, he's never folding here in the big blind with Ace Jack suited. Looks at the clock. I think we could see a 3-bet here. I think it'd be a 3-bet rip all in by Andres Eller. Well, he's cutting out his green chips into 100Ks. There's the 3-bet now, Magic Man. Second hand in a row he opened. Gets played back at and he just snap folds the King Jack. Andre Zeller back up to 1.1 million. Magic Man. Open with the King Jack and made the correct fold. What can he do with King Jack off? Let it go. Once he is faced with a 3-bet, particularly from a pretty snug player like Andres Eller, came to the table 1.1 million, and now 1.1 million in his stack. Blinds are 25,000, 50,000. So a limp here from Dirk, the chip leader with the ace-9. Vyacheslav still hasn't picked up a hand to play with. Andre Zeller in the small blind with the 5-2. This will certainly go in the bin. And then action with Nambrilia. Just waiting for Andres to make his decision. Well, I don't know why he showed, because that's a problem. He thought he was in the big blind. But it's okay. No one has been shot. There's no casualties. It's fine, Andres. Action now with Nambrilia, who checks his option because there's been a limp in, and look at this. It's a problem. Nambrilia has made a pair, and he won't likely give Dirk credit for an ace given that he limped in. He checks. Minimum bet, top 2 for Dirk Liesberg. He's smashed this board. Well, the 100k is certainly getting called. Nambrilia, even if he's up against an ace, he should be reasoning to himself he's got a 2-pair draw, trip draw. Even though we know his 2-pair draw is dead, his trip draw is dead. And he moves all in, it looks like. I don't blame him. He's going to get snapped off, and he's going to be in, I mean, the most horrific shape one can be in. We did see a deuce folded. 5 deuce was folded. So there must have been another 2 folded, because the graphic is showing that Nambrilia is dead. Running 2 is not possible. Flush, running clubs, covered. Dirk has that covered. It's over. Busto. The limp worked out perfectly for Dirk Liesberg, who's on a bit of a heater here. And he makes a full house just to rub it in. Nambrilia eliminated. And that's our big stack. 3.1 million according to my calculations. But of course, we'll wait for the graphics to confirm what is certainly a 3 million stack. Magic Man now posting big blind, no small blind, dead small blind. Andre Zeller will be on the button position.
Minimum you must raise. You have kings. Not them. 350,000. Call, flop, all in, finish.
Vasilios folds and Hassan Chatur. $16 big blind stack. He folds Martin Gregor, 1.6 million. Martin, second in chips, I believe. Vyacheslav folds and Andres Eller on the button. A7, just the big blind. He's got to be raising here. I just don't get that. Why would he fold that with just one player to act? Magic Man, I mean, he shows the King Queen. He'll never believe he was behind there. I mean, if you're going to fold with just a big blind to act, a hand containing an ace, I mean, you're just going to be burning money, the potential to earn blinds really is a part of Andres Eller game. Just plays that just a little bit too tight. Of course, hugely disciplined, very focused, quality tournament player, but for me that's just one area he's just, when it comes to blinds, I think he's just playing a little bit passive. But Vasilios here, he won't be playing the kings passively under the gun. Makes it 1-3-5 danger for Chatur. Pocket pair. Vasilios has been really active. Hassan Chatur escapes, folds the pair. No decision for Martin Gregor. He folds the 9-2 offsuit. And Vyacheslav folds. Andres Eller folding the 10-9 and Magic Man in the small blind position with the Queen 6. He'll let this one go. It's just going to be the big stack, Dirk Leesburg, who's sitting on 3 million. He'll put in the 85, make the call, go to a flop. Kings versus 8-7. No connection to that board for Dirk Leesburg. Vasilios won't be overly concerned with an ace on the board, given probably would hear back from several aces pre-flop, but now this 6 is an interesting card because it opens up so much for Dirk Leesburg. Dirk checks and Vasilios may now put in a delayed continuation bet. $125,000. Dirk Leesburg with that open ender will be continuing, no doubt. There's the 125,000. Makes the call. He misses. Dirk Leesburg will be check folding, I expect. Vasilius should be going for value here, but decides to check back, and he can beat 8 high. Dirk Liesberg picked up that open-ended straight draw on the turn, but the queen on the river, no good for Dirk Liesberg, the chip leader. 2.8 million in a stack. He's posting small blind now, and Vasilius will post the big blind. Interesting table here, pretty mixed. Liking this guy Dirk, but for me it's Martin Grieger, seat 1, and Vasilius, the two players showing the most ambition for me. Magic Man has tried to establish himself. It's just his timing, he's getting knocked back every time. I've seen Chatur with the Jack-8 under the gun. The Frenchman will be folding this. And action now moves to Martin Gregor. Ace-9 suited, we're going to see him open. Ace-9 of clubs. 100,000, min raise. Now, Vyacheslav has not played a hand yet, and he's not going to play the Ace-8. Andres will be folding the Queen-3 offsuit in the cutoff. Now, defend from Vasilios with the Jack-5 suited. And Vasilios has a piece of this board. He's flopped the flush draw. He checks action with Martin Gregor. Martin's completely missed this. I think he's going to continue. 75,000. Just try and end this. There's the 75,000 continuation bet. Could be a check raise. Wouldn't surprise me for Vasilius. No pair, but he does have a big draw. Flush draw. And you can see his equity there. 57%. May see a check raise. And there is the check raise all in, and that will just end the hand. That's the benefit of this move. Gets a lot of hands that are ahead of you to fold. Ace-9 is folding, no doubt, in my mind. Martin going through the likelihood of what he's up against. He's thinking it probably is a draw, a spade draw, but there's nothing he can do. $1.2 million now. 24 big blind stack for Vasilius. It was super short. He was down to 400k at one stage. Good work from the Greek player. Now posting small blind. In the big blind is the French player Hassan Chatur, who's on the very right hand side of the table, just to the right of the dealer, in fact. Sent to your screen there is Vasilios Petratus. Stacking chips, good work. Left of your screen, chip leader is Dirk Liesberg. And now under the gun, bottom left in the bright baseball cap you see there in the centre of your screen. That's Martin Gregor, who snap folds. Vyacheslav folds. Andres Eller, 1 million stack. 10-8 suited. Magic Man. He'll be opening once again. He won't be folding to a 3-bet this time. Oh, problems. Big problems ahead for Dirk Liesberg. Versus a cut-off open. You look down on the button at ace-queen suited. I'm 3-betting Magic Man here. All day, every day. Magic Man with the goods. Magic Man. Well, he's just hoping he's going to get some action here. It's going to be expensive, I think. Dirk Liesberg on the button with ace-queen suited. And there is the... Well, he's just flat. Flat at 150. Interesting. He's just flat called. Now, I've seen Chateau, he is suited. 100k, he's getting 4 1/4 to 1 on his money. Very tempting. Ten six of diamonds. I mean, if you could see the hands, he would certainly snap. Decides to make the call, and we're going to go 3-way. Open ender for Hassan Chateau. He checks. Magic Man has none of this. Dirk Liesberg has a good shot with the 2 overs himself. It's checked all around. And there's bingo. That's why you defend with the 10-6. $500,000 plus in the pot. Interesting. All in shove here from the Frenchman Chateau. Nothing going Magic Man's way. What's the idea of the all in shove? Not sure what he's trying to achieve. Is he just trying to take down the pot? Protect his hand against bigger straights? And you can see the graphic there showing the exact state of play. Plenty of big blinds on this table. 2 shorter stacks. Vyacheslav, who I haven't seen play a hand yet, and Andre Zeller both sitting on 17 bigs. The left hand side of the table, seat 9 is hosting small blind. Seat 1, Martin posting big blind. Vyacheslav folds, leaves the table. Andre Zeller with pocket 10s. Surely he'll open here. Andres Eller points to the button, moves all in. Action with Magic Man, who shouldn't take too long to fold the 5-4. Snap fold with the A7, was it, from the chip leader, and now Vasilios Petratus. Pair 6s. Yeah, I'm not really sure about this. It's pretty much for a stack. I think he just should let this go for a couple of reasons. First of all, well, his hand strength, obviously. 6s. I mean, he's never crushing anything here. He's flipping at best. Also, he's not closing the action. It's like still a bunch of players to act, although I think I did see Hassan Chatur get up and leave, which, well, that's not good if he did, because he's still in the hand. And he shouldn't have left. Maybe I'm mistaken. But I'm really surprised if Vasilios Petratos makes a call here, but he does fold. And the Frenchman did leave the table. I'm really surprised at that. With action still pending. And given this circumstance, and there he is returning, but it's going to be bad news. That's not, you can't do that. And I tell you the reason you can't do that. Because you could see Vasilios with a decision there. He's not closing the action. He still has the blind still to act, the small blind, which is Hassan Chatur. And he's Martin in the big blind. So if they're not in the hand, that makes his decision easier. He could be more inclined to call. He's less people to get through. And you can see the dealer explaining to the TD. And it's certainly, this is David Vick. He's one of the best tournament directors in Europe. And there's certainly he'll give him a penalty. He'll give him a warning for sure, minimum. And the French player just apologising. But given the circumstances there, I think there will be some kind of penalty. Perhaps 3 hands. You can understand. I think he's saying he's seen, well, what happened there was he's seen Vyacheslav leave the table, but Vyacheslav wasn't in the hand, he had folded. Interesting scenario given that actual hand with the all-in and action on the Greek player who was on the button, and then the small blind just left. Right, Dirk Leesburg, hijack. He's going to be opening here with the King Queen. Snap fold from Vasilios, who was getting sticky with the sixes last hand, but he didn't make the correct decision. Folded the sixes, and in the big blind. This is quite remarkable. Vyacheslav has blinded away 500,000 chips just without playing a hand. Dirk Leesburg, top of the chip count chart. Yeah, 28 players remain. Going to be playing down to 24. I don't think there's that much left. I think another level or two. An hour, 90 minutes perhaps. Andres Eller has posted the big blind. So under the gun is Magic Man. 1.3. It just hasn't happened. It was the chip leader up to 2.1 million. 2.2 million in fact at one stage. But now down to 1.3 million. Dirk, this is the chip leader folding the ace-4, and now Vasilios should I say, who's been pretty impressive for me, along with this gentleman here you see in seat 1, Martin Grigor in the button position. Hassan Chatur is folded. Martin's going to be opening on the button with the 10s. Average stack just close to 2 million. Well, Vyacheslav has finally picked up a hand, but it's at the worst possible time. He looks down at pocket 8s in the small blind position versus an open on the button. makes the call, and in the big blind, a suited ace for Andre Zeller, getting a super price. He's for sure going to be continuing here. 65,000, getting about 5.5 to 1 on his money. I mean, he's just not folding this hand. There's no way he's folding. Perhaps he's thinking of a 3-bet. In my opinion, the only two options here. 3-bet. This ace is just, it's such a powerful card. It's blocking so many premiums. Well, that to me is just, with that kind of price, I don't know. Just don't know. King, Queen, Deuce. I mean, both these players, Vyacheslav, Martin, I mean, they're not going to be very enthusiastic about this board. Martin with 10s. He's going to put in a small continuation bet. Super small bet here. 60,000, the absolute minimum. So pocket eights, there's the call, getting 7 to 1. Pot odds to hit a set, even if he is behind, and sometimes his eights are in the lead. This is going to go check, check. Vyacheslav checks, and Martin's going to check this back, I expect. There's the check back, and now the river card. Well, it's brutal if you're sitting in Martin Gregor's seat, but he's not going to go too crazy given that there's 2 overcards on the board. So I don't think Vyacheslav is going to get much action. He checks here. I think there's going to be a check back. He doesn't want to miss out on value, so Vyacheslav is going to go for a value bet here. I expect something around 200,000. Not quite, it's 180 it looks like. And I think it's an easy fold for Martin. There's a couple of busted draws he's beating, but good fold for Martin. Ace Jack, probably the only hand that he's ahead of that would reasonably continue, and then perhaps turn his hand into a bluff once he missed, but Martin just uncomplicates things and just folds it. Really surprised that Andre Zeller there didn't defend with the ace-5 suited. I think long term, like, I think you gotta be, given that price. You're gonna be ahead often enough. You're gonna hit often enough to make that call profitable. You're folding, you're just surrendering your chips, like you're giving away your big blind ante. You've no chance. You don't buy the ticket, you're not gonna win the prize. Now, ace-5 suited for Vyacheslav. I expect him to open here on the button position. Raise incoming from the Ukrainian. So Vyacheslav making it 155,000. Andre Zeller. Well, he's not calling with Queen 6 suited if he's folding Ace 5 suited in the big blind. So this is just a snap fold. It wouldn't make sense to call here. Now, Magic Man, on the other hand, has a legitimate decision here with the pocket threes. So 95k to call. It's got a pair. Could 3-bet here. I suppose the benefit of 3-betting, you're going to get all of Vyacheslav's bluffs to fold. Going to get a lot of hands that you're flipping against, you know, 2 overcards. These pseudo-connector type hands that raise to fold. But Magic Man decides just to set mine, and he puts in the additional 95 and he checks blind, it looks like. No 3 on the flop. But he may continue Magic Man if Vyacheslav continues on this 8-8-6 board, but $130,000 into a 400k pot. Magic Man 2 pair. I think you've got to be continuing for one street at least. You're ahead here enough to make a call here profitable. Your opponent will likely shut down. Given that there's 2 8s on the board, it's just way too risky for Vyacheslav to be firing again. We're going to see Vyacheslav shut down. Well, he's connected. Not good news for Magic Man. And we're still going to see a check back, I expect, because the last thing he'd want is to be check raised. 2 8s out there is just too risky. I think we're going to see a check back. There's the check back, and we go to the river. 3 be interesting. Well, the 5 doesn't make a difference. He's aces and 8s with the 6 kicker. Vyacheslav. Magic Man may feel he could be good. He's just wanting to get to showdown. He snap checks, and now Vyacheslav going for a little bit of value. Looks like 150k. Magic Man still interested. Still interested. It's a really interesting hand, this. But this 150 just screams of value, doesn't it? And Magic Man reads it for what it is. Value bet from pre-flop opener who connected with the ace in the turn. That is Vyacheslav. Didn't see him play a hand for close to 2 hours, but now he's picked up a few pots, and he is second in chips on this feature table. There's 27 players left, so we will see a new player joining the table. Hasim Chatur bowls. He's back in business. He got a three hand ban for leaving the table before the action moved to him. Now Vyacheslav 10 deuce, 1.6 million stack. Andre Zeller with 1 million blinds, 30,000, 60,000. About halfway through this 30k, 60k blind level. If you've just tuned in, it's King's Resort. We're broadcasting live from the capital of live poker in Europe. The biggest, the best, the #1 venue for live poker in Europe. This weekend we're bringing you the German Poker Masters warm-up. 300,000 guaranteed for just a 230 buy-in. Blind v blind. Magic Man just check folding here. I expect with 9 high, that leaves him under the 1 million. And Dirk Liesberg shows the connection to the board he made. Scoops the chips, button moves. Hassan Chatur under the gun with the pocket fours. 1.1 million stack. I mean, it's so difficult to play these small pairs in early positions. I mean, I'm preferring a fold here to anything. And it's difficult for him. Difficult hand to play, believe me. That's why he's looking at the clock, weighing up his options, but I think the right decision would be to let it go. Does let it go. Vyacheslav with the ace deuce suited hijack position. $135 with the ace deuce suited. Andres Eller in the cutoff. 8-3 in the dustbin, and now Magic Man on the button with the Jack 9. Jack 9 offsuit is folded, but Dirk Liesberg with the real hand here. Ask the dealer exactly how much the raise is. It's 135. That's the reply from the dealer. And now we're going to see a 3-bet. From the big stack at the table, he's going to make it 270. Vasilios Petratus. Well, he would have loved to have seen a flop with the King 10 suited, but that's not really feasible now given the action. An open and a 3-bet, he just folds the King 10. Action back with Vyacheslav. Flashes the ace, makes the fold. Dirk Liesberg, 3.1 million chip leader on this table. Lines are still 30,000, 60,000. Action with Andres Eller. Hijack position with the King 5. Andres sitting on 1 million. The blind level here 30-60. This is the German Poker Masters warm-up event. We're down to 27 players. Magic Man. Small blind won't compete with the 5-2. Walk for French player. He'll take that with 6-3 off. Now, top of that leaderboard, Dirk Liesberg. Second, Vyacheslav with 24 bigs, and then Hassan Chatur. You can see the stacks getting more shallow as the levels go up, of course. Magic Man, bottom of that leaderboard, was top when we started this stream. 15 bigs. But still, plenty of room to play. On the button there is Martin Gregor, sorry, on the big blind, Martin Gregor. Vyacheslav under the gun with the King 6. Folds and Andres Eller with the Ace 8. Under the gun +1. Now Magic Man. The table just playing that little bit tight. Vasilios not picking up any hands, and now blind v blind. We haven't seen this too often between Hassan Chatur and Martin Gregor. I expect Chatur to just limp here with the 8-5 suited. Well, again, we're seeing players not really showing a willingness to go after the blinds. I mean, that's a great situation for Martin Gregor, sitting there with Jack 2 off, getting a walk. That'll work for him nicely. Post small blind, and in the big blind, Vyacheslav. Under the gun will be Andres Eller. Vasilios in the cutoff with 10-8. Now, Hassan Chatur on the button with an ace, 1.1 million stack. Surely we're going to see an open here. Big blind 60k. In the blinds is Martin Gregor in the small blind. Vyacheslav Shevchov in the big blind. Here's the open from Hassan Chatur. Makes it 155, it looked like. Wow, okay. He was held to a limp, I think. He underraised. Martin Gregor will be peeling a flop. It's just going to cost him another 30k. Queen Jack. So he puts in the 30k. And Vyacheslav Shevchov with Queen Deuce getting a free flop. Checks his option. Three-way now. First to speak, Martin, who flops top pair. And a good shot. It's going to be problematic for Vyacheslav, who's also connected. He's made top pair. Chatur, who wanted to raise pre and probably would have worked, has to just check back this board. King on the turn. Martin Gregor in the lead. Pair queens. Good shot. Vyacheslav may feel his queen is good here. He's going to put out a feeler bet. It's about 60, well, it's 80,000. And Hassan Chatur will just fold this ace-3. Now, Martin going nowhere. Pair and a good shot. Pair queens can be ahead here a lot. But he will be concerned about the king, obviously, but there's no chance he's folding 80,000 bet from Vyacheslav. Not now, anyway. He'll call here and reassess the situation on the river. 6. I think this goes check, check. Martin does check. Vyacheslav. Should be checking back here, I think. He's got showdown value. Well, is he turning his hand into a bluff? That's the question. 90,000. Look at the price that Martin Gregor is getting. I mean, it screams a value. Looks like a value bet. Feels like a value bet. It probably is a value bet. But Martin Gregor is ahead. It's a tough one to figure out. I mean, what other hands? Well, like, what hands value bet here that he's ahead of? It's like very few. Perhaps just what we see in Vyacheslav's holdings. It's really difficult to call there. Vyacheslav, I think, felt he was ahead. He was against a busted draw. 6, of course, brought a lot more straights. Vyacheslav Shevchov with 27 bigs, 1.7 million. Jörg Leisberg with 3.1 million. The short stack is Magic Man. He's down to 15 bigs, and look at Martin Gregor, under 1 million. That was a sizable pot. Interesting last hand. Now, Magic Man under the gun with the 10-6. Nothing really has happened for him these last couple of levels. Jörg Leisberg, he's going to open. Well, he's just limped in. 60k limp. Martin with Jack 10 on the button. Lets it go, but Vyacheslav with a pocket pair in the small blind position. I think he just completes here, 30,000 to see a flop. Getting 7 to 1, superb price. Andres Eller will have the easy decision of checking his option. Queen 5. Andres with a good shot. Dirk Leesberg is going to rep this board. Pre-flop raiser. It's going to work. 100k, sixes go in the bin here. It's just a horrible flop for sixes. On Andres Eller. Just that good shot. No interest in continuing. 3.3 million stack for Dirk Leesberg, chip leader on this table. One of still 4 tables in play, but I'm told we're down to 27 players, which means that we will be breaking a table. That table will be balanced. Now, small blind posted by Andres Eller. Big blind is the Magic Man. Under the gun is Dirk Leesberg, Jack 10. Limps again, it's been working for him. Low risk, and he's getting rewarded. Chateau with the same hand. The table is playing very tight, and someone figures this out. Well, I mean, there's just a bunch of blinds to be stolen there. Every hand, every round. 150k out there pre-flop. So Dirk under the gun with the limp with the Jack 10, and Vyacheslav on the button calls with the suited king. 4 deuce suited goes in the bin, but the big blind here has a decision. Magic Man looks down at ace 8. Has 2 options. He can check, see a flop, or he can raise, and he's decided to let rip here. And it's going to earn him the pot. He's going to go from 880k up to 1.1 million. Vyacheslav has to fold the king 4 suited. Magic Man takes down the pot. He just flicks the ace around the board. Magic Man now will post small blind. Big blind is Dirk Leesberg. Dirk Leesberg, the short stack at the beginning of this stream. with just about 10 bigs and now sitting on about 3.2 million. That's him there in the green top. Opposite the dealer, white gloves, it's the Magic Man. We're missing Andre Zeller from this hand. But first to speak is Vasilios with the ace-9 under the gun. Yeah, just looking at the comments there, Johan saying it looks like we're going to continue with 4 tables. I'm not really understanding what the idea of that is.
1-4. Let's fold. 3-4.
Vasilios moves all in with the ace-9, and Magic Man going to be folding the 8-7. That's Andres Eller taking his seat. Big blind. Snap folds the 10-8.
No blinds. No blind 40, big blind 80, blind 80, 40, 80, 80. So break.
Button moves. Blinds posted.
No, you blind.
You blind.
New blind level, we're told,
No break.
which is 40,000, 80,000.
Without break. Right, yes. Three players. Was the time for break now? No, it goes, yes, of course. It goes, because 3 players. What matters? If 3 players, no break. Gentlemen, I have one question. Look at the cell phone on the table. We have only 6 cell phones there, so one is missing. I don't know. Somebody else telephone?
So blinds are 40,000, 80,000. Really is a really tight table. It's like no one really stepping up, taking control. Vasilius probably the most active, but he is somewhat shackled given his stack size. I've seen Chatur hasn't really got going, and he's not going to be playing the 5-4 suited. So blinds now increased. Well, Andre Zeller in the cutoff ace-8. He's just got 11 bigs, so he's going to be just ripping here. All in, no doubt in my mind. Andre Zeller, ace-queen in the cutoff. Last the dealer for the triangle. Now Dirk has folded, so action with Vasilios, who looks interested. The king 2 is in the bin. That's Dirk Leesberg's hand, and now Vasilios does fold the king 8 suited. Andres Eller takes down the pot and the button moves. 7 players on our feature table. On the button here is the chip leader, is Dirk Liesberg, hosting blinds. You can see there on the right hand side of your screen is Vasilius Petratus and Hassan Chatur under the gun on the left hand side. Same to your screen there now, Martin Gregor. And this is Vyacheslav. Folds the 9-8. Action moves around to Andres Eller. Magic Man with the Nutlow 3-deuce straight in the bin. Dirk Liesberg 9-3 suited. He is the big stack. He could opt to apply pressure, but he decides to snap fold, and Vasilius will move all in with the 9-7 suited. But I think this could be called blind v blind here. Vasilius Petratus versus Hassan Chatur. Chatur with the king queen. Blind v blind. Andres Eller just stretching his legs. Now, Hassan Chatur, blind v blind. Well, what's going through his mind? Well, what would be going through my mind is I'm not up against a premium like aces, kings, queens. Blind v blind. Like, they're not going to shove all in, are they? Maybe ace king, that's a concern. Maybe ace queen, that's also a concern, but not highly likely. So, I mean, there's way too many hands I'm ahead of here in the big blind position versus a small blind all in shove. When I look down at king queen, it's tough, but you just gotta man up, make the call. It's not easy putting in all your stack. Calling off is difficult always. You prefer to get your money in first, but you gotta make the call. If you don't make this call, you are going to be exploited big time. Your opponent will, well, I mean, if you're going to fold king queen in the big blind versus a small blind shove, well, a small blind could just shove any two and make some serious profit off you. I do think Hassan Chatur will make the call. He's quite a while in the tank here. He's 2.5 minutes, but it is for his tournament life, so I get it. You can see the stress he's under. He's looking at the clock, looking at the amount of blinds he has. He knows he's got to make a call here. TD called. TD asked the dealer, well, how long is this taking? Dealer's kind of going, yeah, kind of. And the TD gives 30-second clock. I mean, Vasilius is just dying for a fold here. I mean, 9 high, not looking for action. He's just trying to pick up the blinds here. But if he does get called, he is suited. He's somewhat connected. He's probably going to be live, so... Oh, this is just too tight. Sorry. It's just way too tight. And a player like Vasilios Petratus, well, he's going to exploit you big time. I've seen folds the king queen there. Yeah, it was a big decision, but I think you just got to man up in that situation. Yeah, it's not easy, it's tough, but you just got to make the call. I mean, you're never against the aces, kings, or queens. That's, I mean, it's just rarely would aces, kings, or queens play like that. So what are you afraid of? What hands are you actually afraid of? Well, all the other pairs you're flipping against. Problem ace, king, ace, queen. These are two hands, yeah. But even hands like that, ace, king, ace, queen, would probably not let rip for the full amount. Probably try to induce action, particularly the ace, king hand. So then you're just down to ace, queen. What about all them other hands that you're way ahead of that will rip? Well, we just seen the 9-7, for instance. But hands like king, jack, queen, jack, jack 10, jack, queen, all of these hands, king 9 suited, queen 9 suited, all of these hands are going to shove into you. You look down at king, queen, you just got to make the call. Now, next hand, it's Dirk Liesberg. This limp strat that the chip leader has employed is quite unusual, but on this table it's effective because it's just playing very tight, and it's going to work out nice here with top pair. But Martin may continue for one street with a good shot in the backdoor spades, but he decides, given his stack size is just too expensive to be floating, and he opts to fold, and Dirk takes down another pot. Chip leader, left hand side is Andres Ellis. Sent to your screen as a magic man, but he needs to make something happen, magic man, pretty quick. Now under the gun, Andres Eller. Now, interesting, Martin Gregor, 4 high, small blind. You suited though. Me just limp here, try and peel a flop. Big blind is Vyacheslav. Looks at his stack. Martin Gregor, 4 deuce, small blind. In the big blind, the Ukrainian Vyacheslav, super solid Vyacheslav. And Martin decides not to shove with the 4 high, gives a walk to the Ukrainian, but moves, blinds out 40,000, 80,000. Now, big stack with the queens makes it 225. Hassan Chatour cut off king 10. Well, I mean, if he's folding king queen in the big blind versus the small blind rip, I really can't see him getting too interested with the king 10 offsuit and the cutoff. So, under the gun, the chip leader, this is Dirk Eliesberg, 3.3 million. Blinds 40,000, 80,000. We're down to 26 players, I believe. We're going to pause the clock at 24. This is the German Poker Masters warm-up. 300,000 euros the prize pool. Just 26 players remain from 1,000 plus entries. Now, Martin Gregor cut off. I can see a shove incoming here. Pair in the cut off. 10 bigs. I think he's got to go for it, folded around to him. There is the shove. Andres Eller in the small blind with king 10. Andres 11 big blind stack. I think this is just a fold. King 10. Too often you're up against stronger kings, stronger 10s. Magic Man folds the 6-5. Button moves. You'd wonder if Magic Man, seeing the cards in Martin Gregor's hand, would he call with the 6-5? Interesting. Vasilios under the gun with the king 9 suited. And now Hassan Chatour. with a suited ace. Ace 8 suited. Haseen likes to take his time. Considers all his options. 11 big blinds in a stack. I mean, I wouldn't mind a shove here. I really wouldn't. And he does decide to shove with the ace 8. Vyacheslav folds. Andres Eller will be folding the queen 8. I don't really understand this Andres Eller. Don't think it's in his interest to be burning up the clock, given that he's just got 11 bigs. He wants to get in as many hands as possible before the blind level goes up. I don't think there's any chance of a call here. Absolutely zero chance. I'd be willing to bet strong on it. So, we've seen the Frenchman take down a pot. That is Haseen Chatour. Gets a stack over the million mark. And it looks like he's under the gun here once again with an ace. Ace deuce. You feel on this occasion he'll just let this one go. Ace deuce off. Too many players still to act. I expect a fold here from Haseen Chatour. If you've just tuned in, you're watching the latter stages of day 2 here at the German Poker Masters warm-up event, main event. Over 1,000 entries for this €230 buy-in. And we are down to just 25 players. So next bust out, we will pause the clock. Vyacheslav folds and Andres Eller with the Jack 10 in the cutoff. Andres with 11 big blinds in a stack. Now, Magic Man. 10.5 bigs. It's like everyone is short bar the player in the center of your screen, which is Dirk Liesberg in the small blind position. He's playing about 3.5 million. Magic Man moves in with the 8-4. Well, it's going to work. It's high risk. Folded around to him, just 2 players still to act. Earns himself 200k profit. It's risky, but it works out for the Magic Man. button moves, chip leader in the button position. That's Dirk Liesberg. Small blind posted by Vasilios Petratos, who you can see there just getting some refreshments. He's posting small blind, and then we have the French player Hassine Chatour post big blind. Bottom left of your screen in the bright baseball cap is Martin Gregor, also short. The nut low, no interest. Vyacheslav, the Ukrainian ace-7 suited. This guy's been pretty good for me. Vyacheslav, very solid. Didn't see him play a hand for 2 hours, but he didn't really pick up any opportunities. But I've liked what he's done in the last hour. And he's going to raise here with ace-7 suited. This table is just playing too tight. I mean, that's the problem. It's just way too tight. It's actually screaming out for someone to take control, and perhaps this is the player. Makes it 200k, and Andres Eller, King Queen. Now, will we see a 3-bet rip here? Because that is a viable option for Andres Eller. Open from Vyacheslav. And Andres Eller now with a decision. 11 big blinds in a stack. King, Queen. Well, we can see that Vyacheslav has Andres well covered. Andres with 11 bigs. Loving this jacket, by the way. It really is cool. Andres Eller with a decision. I don't mind either way. A call, or well, I hate a call. I prefer 3-bet shove or fold, but he's counting out a call 200k, which is a huge proportion of a stack. It's 25% of a stack. Okay. And now Magic Man folds the King 5 suited. Not good if you're Andres Eller. Suited ace for Dirk. Ace deuce of clubs, and the French player in the big blind. I mean, what a price. There's 800,000 in the pot and 120 to call. So he's getting 6.5 to 1, 6.5 to 1 on his money. I'm calling for sure. It's easy to say, I suppose, but when you're sitting, well, like just 11 or 12 bigs behind, it is a big percentage of your stack. So I get how difficult this is. So eventually the dealer scoops the pot and we're going to see a flop. Vyacheslav with ace-7 suited. He makes a pair. Backdoor clubs. But Andres Eller has smashed this. He's made top pair. Dirk Liesberg has missed. Now Andres, very interested, looks back at his hand. Yes, top pair. Asks the player on the rail to move. Wants to see the clock. Looks around. Surely he puts his money in here. Again, he just counts out the bet size, 160. And he's counting out what he's got behind also. Dirk Leesburg is still in the hand. But I think if you're calling with King, Queen, Pre, you just got to put it all in here. I mean, Andres Eller has no choice. Chips have to go in. Well, he's not folding. That's just not an option. And eventually he does make the all-in announcement. Now, Vyacheslav with second pair, he could convince himself he's up against a flush draw and his pair is good. And even if he's up against the king, he does have a redraw. He has a trip draw, two pair draw. And like, it's just 520 to call. It's an interesting one. 6.5 bigs. Back to him. And now he's starting to do the mathematics, Vyacheslav. It's a close one, but I think Vyacheslav will fold this, but he wants an exact count. I get this. I mean, he's getting a big price here. So we can see by the equity here, 21% versus 79%, that he needs 4-1. That's worst case scenario. That's what he's thinking. He's up against the king, he's about a 4-1 shot, but would a 7-8 suited do this? I think so. Would a diamond draw do this? Certainly would. It's a close one, but it looks like Vyacheslav is just going to let this one go. Andres Eller up to 1.6 million. Sizable pot, and it looks like this black call pre was the best option. Dealer awards in the pot. 25 players remain. One more player to go before we will pause the clock and return for day 3, final day tomorrow. But that's the chip count graphic there, showing just exactly what the stack size for each of the players here we're featuring on our feature table, and it's like everyone has 20 bigs or below apart from Dirk Leesburg, who's sitting on 2.9 million. Andres Eller, 1.6 million now. Andres Also running in the resort is the German Poker Masters High Roller event. 70 entries, 33k in the prize pool, with over 10k up top. But this is the main event this week. This is the warm-up, 300k. See Magic Man here move all in with the ace-10. Hassine Chatour in the small blind with 10-9 suited. Magic Man takes it down. 25 remain. One more bust out. And we will finish for the night. Return tomorrow for that final day. We're going to be streaming from 2:30. Andre Zeller under the gun folding the 8-7. Now Dierk, ace queen suited. Now this is interesting. Vesalius, Petratus, ace-10. Don't take much for Vesalius to put his money in. He does. Ace-10, but he's run into it. Dierk Leesburg has the hand. The ace-queen suited. Hassine Chatour, well, I'm not sure what he's considering. This jack-8 should be just automatically binned because he's not going to put his money in. This not really making sense to me. Why Hassine Chatour is actually in the tank here, thinking about putting in his 900,000 with Jack 8. Well, he was never going to do that. But there's a big problem here for Vasilios Petratus. And for me, I mean, Vasilios, the most ambitious player at the table, this works quite a lot, but it's not going to work now. I mean, you just can't fold the ace-queen suited. Not to a player like Vasilios. Yeah, and Dierk Leesburg's strong enough to make the call. You can see Vasilios, like, he smiles. He knows he's in trouble once he hears the call. Now, can you believe he still has 30% equity? It's remarkable, really. Versus ace-queen, suited ace-10 off, 30%. So we're going to go and see a flop. Vasilios Petratus, all in for his tournament life. Dierk Leesburg, the chip leader, still 2 million behind, and well, this is incredible. He flops trips, but he's only 2-1 favourite because Leesburg has the diamond draw. Now there's a redraw. The stats are flipped. Ace-10 now 24%. Needs an ace-9, king, or that's it. 6 on the river. Ace-queen makes a flush. Basilius Busto eliminating 25th, and the clock is now paused. You can see the players congratulating themselves because they've made the final day, day 3. So we're going to return tomorrow for 2:30. We're going to be broadcasting at 2:30 for the final day of the German Poker Masters warm-up main event. Blind level will be the 40,000, 80,000 blind level. Do join us tomorrow. That's Richard, the TD, just overseeing the bagging of the chips. They'll sign for their chips. You can see the dealer just passing each of the players a bag. They'll bag them, they will seal them, they'll sign for them. There'll be a fresh redraw, so 3 tables, 3 full tables, 8 players per table. And that's it. Until tomorrow. Sayonara.